Okay, so the biggest comeback in sporting history is going to be July 29th, International Fight Week, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Number of different questions to be asked here. First of all, is this actually real? Is this going to happen? Has Dana come out and confirmed it? Has the UFC confirmed it in any way, shape or form? Or is this just Conor McGregor on the sauce on New Year's Eve? I guess the second question is, if this actually does transpire, who's going to come out on top? And probably the most important question of all is, who actually cares about this now? I mean, there's been so much talk in the last couple of weeks about UFC 300 and Conor McGregor's return, and he's going to headline 300 with Michael Chandler. That was almost exciting. Then it was like, okay, Chandler is going to get the drop and we're going to bring in Nate Diaz or Dustin Poirier or Tony Ferguson even. That was interesting. This was making headlines. People were making content talking about it. And then we get this underwhelming statement from him last night in the middle of having dinner. And he does this stupid laugh, and in the middle of that he talks about 185. And surely the majority of people that are watching it are thinking, okay, this is trash. This is trash. Another clickbait video, another ball of hype for the announcement on New Year's Day. And it's like, as soon as you said 185, you lost all credence in terms of this actually being a thing. Now, don't get me wrong, it might come to fruition that Conor McGregor gets his way and gets to fight at 185. For what reason? I have no idea. The dude is looking like he's trimmed down a bit. Different videos. One video, he looks like he's young. The next video looks like he's 50 years old. Hard to kind of gauge what Conor's at, to be honest. I'm not impressed with this announcement one bit. I know there's a lot of people online that are impressed with it and are talking about it in terms of it being a fight. At this stage, it's a farce. 3 years out for Conor McGregor by the time he gets in there. 2.5 years out for Michael Chandler. I made a video the other day talking about Michael Chandler in terms of desperation. Without being rude or derogatory towards Michael Chandler, it does stink of desperation. I would hate to be the guy that waits 2.5 years to fight Conor McGregor for him to come out with his announcement as if he's running the show, and for it to be this like nonsensical, maniacal, stupid laugh and talking about weights that are like 3 weights ahead of where we're supposed to be fighting. This fight is supposed to be 155, possibly 170. Where did 185 come from? I know Conor mentioned that in The Ultimate Fighter when he totally ripped off Ian Gary's line of "you'll do what you're told," but I mean, why 185? Why 185? Is this a mind game by Conor McGregor? Is he actually trying to get inside the mind of Chandler? Is this actually going to be a fight? That's just the question that I'm asking. We saw Conor said that he was talking to Dana White. Dana White said he was talking to Conor McGregor and they were trying to work something out. Conor was furious that he wasn't getting a fight. Why couldn't this be made for UFC 300? Why couldn't this be made for January? Why couldn't this be made for February, March, April, May? Why are we waiting another 6 months for this fight? And who's going to want to wait? Where's the anticipation for this fight? Only stringent Conor McGregor fans are going to be excited to wait 6 months to see him fight at 185. Let's just be honest. Who's going to be interested in that? You're going to get normies, of course, that know Conor McGregor as being this like fighter or superstar, so they're going to tune in. So in terms of pay-per-view, we don't know. I'm not interested for it. As I said, if you were telling me that this was at UFC 300, I'd have a slight bit of interest. But after all the hype of last week where he was saying that he was going to jump over to a bigger opponent and a better opponent, it still would have been deflating. I actually find it hard to get into the rhythm of talking about this like it's a legitimate fight. Okay, so Chandler at 185, is he going to be slower? What's he going to be like after his 2-year layoff? Conor at 185, is there going to be more power? Is there going to be dodginess on the leg? Will he be able to move forward on that foot? I can't even get into that sort of rhythm of thinking about it as a fight because it's just stupid. 185, maniacal laugh. I'll make you wait 2 or 3 years. This mightn't even happen. This mightn't even happen. Conor McGregor's career at this stage is so volatile that this mightn't even happen. So between now and June 29th, when Conor finally gets into the octagon at 185 with Chandler, we have UFC 300. This massive milestone event that's going to be amazing. It's going to have the best fights on it, and it's where everyone wants to fight. And what do we have so far? Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad. I don't know whether this is going to be the main card. I don't know whether it's going to be the main title fight on the card. It's just, I can't even imagine getting excited to watch that. I'm happy for Belal Muhammad to get in there and do whatever he has to do. And we'll figure it out from there in terms of him being the welterweight GOAT of all time, as he said there recently. Or whether Leon Rocky Edwards puts on another elite display of defensive wrestling. I can't imagine missing out on something like that. Bo Nickel fighting some prelim dude. We've got Aljamain Sterling fighting Calvin Kattar. And I'm not not even going to entertain any of the female divisions or fights. No interest. We could have had Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. We could have had Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. And even to a lesser extent, we could have had Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler at UFC 300. I think that the interest in that Chandler fight still wouldn't be what it was supposed to be in terms of a Conor McGregor greatest comeback of all time. I think that's a bit of a delusion. I don't think many people are thinking that he's going to come back, have this awesome fight and then do a run at the title. I doubt if anyone's thinking that. So we're just looking for spectacle fights at this stage from Conor McGregor. The biggest spectacle would have been UFC 300. It would have been someone like Nate Diaz or Dustin Poirier, but we would have settled for a Michael Chandler. The way it stands now, we got to wait another 6 or 7 months. God knows what's going to happen in the middle of that. Michael Chandler's sitting down waiting at home for 2.5, 3 years, completely and utterly desperate at this stage. Like, in fairness, even responding to Conor's announcement last night, I wouldn't have even responded to it. Surely Michael Chandler is sitting down at home thinking, this is not real. Who the fuck is this guy to be jumping out here with stupid statements about 185 and drinking wine? If it was me, I would have just stayed quiet, waited for Dana to call me up and say, yeah, look, it's June 29th. Then I would have went boom, down with the phone, and I would have got myself prepped for it. I wouldn't be engaging with Conor's antics online. Absolutely not. Because if this does backfire, and there's a huge possibility that it does and this fight doesn't come to fruition, how bad is it going to look and be for his career missing that amount of time waiting for Conor to give you a chance? No thanks, man. You know what I mean? No thanks. I would have moved on. That's my thoughts on the Conor McGregor greatest comeback of all time. That's my thoughts on the UFC 300 Belal Muhammad elite wrestler Leon Edwards bout. Can't wait for it. Absolutely excited for that one. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hit like, subscribe and share. You know what? Even if you just hit that like button, that's extremely important to the algorithm this month apparently, and I'd really appreciate it. Cheers.